weekend, a lot of us want to splurge, go on shopping sprees. Well, Reliance Industries goes on shopping sprees in style. So they picked up two new green companies over the weekend and made them a part of their new clean energy campaign. They have bought out Norway-based solar panel manufacturer REC for a little over $770 million and has also acquired a 40% stake in Shapoorji Pallonji's group company Sterling and Wilson Solar. My colleague Vivek is telling us more about these deals.
Well, a very important and significant deal in the renewable space, and this time it's big boy Reliance that post its AGM has been extremely aggressive as far as augmenting its renewable energy capacity is concerned. Along with that, the company is also looking at the entire ecosystem, and this particular acquisition that Reliance is looking at is a significant one, as Sterling and Wilson Solar is a global EPC player as well as has significant O&M operations across the globe. Now, Reliance New Energy Solar Limited, the subsidiary of Reliance Energy, will be looking to acquire 40% stake in Sterling and Wilson Solar, and this deal is via a combination of primary investment, secondary purchase and open offer. Now, when you're talking about the entire deal structuring, number one, there will be a preferential allotment for close to 15.5% post allotment capital, and this particular preferential allotment will be done at 375 rupees a share. The second part of the deal is that the company will be looking to acquire close to 9.7%, and this is again post preferential share capital. This particular acquisition too will be done at 375 rupees a share. Now, after this, the SEBI regulation rules will kick into place, and for that purpose, Reliance will actually go ahead and give an open offer to the public for 4.91 crore shares, post which Reliance New Energy will be holding close to 40% of the total stake of the company. The second deal that Reliance has done is that the company is looking to acquire REC Group, which is an integrated solar PV maker. Now, this particular deal is set at an enterprise value of close to $771 million, a very significant acquisition given that REC has implemented FBR technology for producing polysilicon commercially, and this actually sets it apart from a lot of peers. Some significant moves coming in from big boy Reliance as far as the new energy space is concerned.
Right, Harshvardhan Dole, Vice President IIFL, with us on the show this evening. Abhishek Jain, Head of Research, Arihant Capital, also speaking with us. Welcome to the India development debate. Harshvardhan, let me start by just getting your take on how you see this strategy. Now, earlier this year, Mr. Mukesh Ambani had made it clear that he is going to pivot towards clean energy, green energy. I mean, I would say 60% of this group's revenues come from fossil fuels, and it's a massive pivot when Reliance Industries decides to go green. In that larger picture, how do you see these two acquisitions over the weekend?
Well, these are certainly the building blocks for Reliance's, gigafactory that intends to put up, whereby it initially plans to manufacture integrated 4 gigawatt, silicon to PV voltaic cell unit. If you analyze the strategy in detail, it leapfrogs RIL from sheer paper plan to something which is very formidable in terms of technology, and which can leapfrog their ambitions significantly. To give you a perspective, REC Solar has got access to a technology which manufactures silicon, polycrystalline, the raw material which is in the key ingredient for manufacturing the panels, in the most cost-efficient way. Their technology is basically 70 to 75% less energy conservative, less energy consumption than the alternative technology, plus 90% lower in terms of carbon footprint. That is sweet music to somebody like an RIL who's expert in leveraging this kind of a technology. On the other side, when you acquire somebody like a Sterling Wilson, which is a champion in terms of executing the solar EPC contracts globally, you kind of have a end-to-end integrated value chain whereby you manufacture the PV voltaic cell in-house and then go ahead and commission that. No one in India as of now has this kind of a strategy or footprint. And to that extent, RIL's diversified revenue model will get further diversified by this integrated value chain approach. And to that extent, it's a masterstroke.
You know, Abhishek Jain, it's very interesting that we're talking about a green energy push, a renewable energy push, on a day when the top headline is also a power crisis that India is facing. Yes, it's a power crisis because of a shortage of coal. We are still very dependent on thermal energy. Is this the big bet to move to renewable energy, where a large player like Reliance comes and does this front and center? And what is the kind of timeline we are looking at on this?
So Tamanna, this is something, this acquisition has helped Reliance to the announcement of the chairman of Reliance during its AGM to for an investment of 75,000 crore in, especially in the green energy segment right now. So this is basically the execution is happening right now. And what exactly the company is doing at this point of time, they want to be on an entire value chain, and they want to move out from the like enabling. They want to get out from the decarbon in the they want to get into the get out from.
I seem to have lost your line there, Abhishek. But yes, you were making a good point that Reliance Industries wants to decarbonize and is thus moving towards green energy. We'll try and get him back up over there. But Harshvardhan, coming back to the question of these acquisitions and the whole plan, it's a long-term plan. The pivot to renewable is inevitable. We all have to get there. But just look at the current context where renewable energy and the move towards renewable energy is one of the reasons that Europe today is suffering due to very high gas prices. So when demand spikes, renewable energy as it exists today seems to fall short. Isn't that a matter of concern?
Well, yes and no. Frankly, it will be inappropriate to compare the European situation versus what we have in India for two counts. One, the per capita energy consumption in Europe is significantly different than what we have in India. And secondly, the growth rate of energy consumption in both these geographies is significantly different. And third, most importantly, Indian policymakers are ensuring that even if we consume coal, by way of putting up FGD, etc., the pollution that coal-based plants will put up will be significantly lesser. To that extent, I think there is a need for coal and renewable energy to coexist, and particularly so in the Indian context, because till the time the battery backup solution become economically viable and ensure that we can fully rely on battery operated systems and fully replace coal, to that extent the policymakers, rightfully so, are ensuring that we have a blend of coal as well as renewable energy in India. I think this energy crisis will only, fast track, some of resolution of some of these sticky issues. As to, for several years, we haven't put up new coal-based power plants, or the issue of, stranded coal-based power plants. Those, in my opinion, will surely need to be resolved if India were to be energy compliant.
Harshvardhan, you started this conversation saying that these are just the building blocks of the large picture that Reliance looks at when it's moving to clean energy. It wants to be right through the value chain and right through the supply chain. So what comes next, in your view, to really make that mission a reality?
Well, second, the first logical step is basically inculcate this technology and get it to India. Particularly in Jamnagar, where they intend to set up this gigafactory. Considering Reliance's acumen, they will be able to inculcate this technology, indigenize it, and perhaps improve it if necessary over the next maybe 2 to 3 years, and put up a world-class manufacturing unit at Jamnagar. So that's the first logical step. Second is, of course, when they have acquired this company, seamless integration with RIL's culture, business processes is of significant importance, because at the end of the day, The DNAs of two firms have to match up. And in order to ensure seamless transition of technology, integration of these two, organizations is very essential. So logically, from shareholders' perspective, the key milestone to look at is how fast these two milestones are achieved, so that one can see a major ramp up happening on the manufacturing side.
So we're looking at it this evening. I mean, of course, shareholders have already been rewarded. The stock did well today, but we're looking at this from the perspective of, having the option of more sources of renewable energy and cleaner energy at a time when we have a global coal shortage and renewable energy has not really managed to kick in the way it needed to. That was the context in which I was talking about Europe. We have Abhishek back with us. Abhishek, I think maybe you missed a part of that conversation, but I wanted your take about the current global energy crisis and how crucial this one set of acquisitions and the larger plan that India has to move towards renewable energy now becomes.
So if you see right now, I believe this is like Reliance, this acquisition will help them in the front end also and the back end also. So as I mentioned earlier also, the Reliance want to be in across the value chain, where the REC acquisition will help them in the front end of the execution, where the raw material will be using it, while on the execution side, they'll be using the Sterling and Wilson Solar, which is the leading EPC and O&M player right now. As we know, like on the overall basis, still thermal power is close to 67-68% of our energy requirement. And if we believe they want to reach a certain 40-50% going forward, to this acquisition is going to help them substantially. And the Reliance also have a big plans to get reaching into initially starting with 4 gigawatt per annum capacity and eventually making out to 10 gigawatt per annum, especially from the Giga complex Jamnagar, which they are planning to start.
Yeah. All right. So it is a building block. It's a stepping stone, much more to go. In the bigger picture, not just Reliance, we need more and more players who move towards renewable energy and find a way to make it more sustainable, especially at times like this when demand is outstripping supply by quite a margin. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us on this leg of the show. We'll take a very short break, but we're back with much more.